Alright, I'm back with one of my first visions that I had. And, okay. I was laying in bed. I just went to lay down to go to sleep. And all of a sudden, I saw this, like, white dot in front of me. My eyes were closed, but I saw this dot. And I just focused on it, and all of a sudden it just kind of got bigger and bigger, and it kind of exploded. I'd never had a vision before, but... And this scene appeared in front of me. Now, what was weird is I could not stop this. I mean, I tried to open my eyes, blink my eyes. I could not stop what I was seeing. So what I saw was the entire sky was on fire. Rolling, boiling fire. It was just, and I remember it scared me because I jerked and I scooted back, closer to my husband because I was scared. And like I said, I couldn't stop this, what I was seeing. So anyways, there was this huge fire, and all of a sudden the face of God came through this fire, and I saw that he had many, many crowns on his head. And then that disappeared. It just wiped away. And the next thing I saw was the sky was full of angels. There was all kinds of angels. There must have been thousands of them. Some with wings, some without wings, some glittered, some sparkled. But in between the angels were demons. But there was a lot more angels. And the next thing that the vision focused in on was, by my side of the bed was a window. And standing in front of that window was a huge angel. He was as tall as the house. I don't know exactly how tall he was, but he was huge. But the vision focused in on his wings, and I could see every tiny indenture and crease and bend of the wings that he had. It was really cool, and it was a beautiful, beautiful white. I mean, you've heard this saying, it's a white that's not of this world. And then I was pulled out into my front porch. Well, the next thing I saw, because the front porch was right there by my bedroom window, it was a huge deck that went, the length of the house. And I saw 4 angels standing on our porch, just like in an arc, and they had their arms crossed. And they always looked stern. I looked up and I saw an angel sitting on the roof of our house over my son's bedroom. And then there was an angel standing, of course, by my window, and then one by the steps that led down to the ground. And I walked over to that angel, and we looked over in the sky, and the sky was clear again. And I saw a lone man, which I believe was Jesus. He was in a white robe, getting ready to get on a white horse, and beside him was a single angel. And that was all that I saw. So after that day, I knew that we had angels. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. So I just kept talking to God every day. I'd be like, boy, Father, I sure would love to know the names of my angels if it's okay with you. And I kept praying on it. And I would talk to the angels. It's like, I know you're there. I mean, I've seen you. So I sure would love to know your names. And so during this time, I was also dealing with something that I had done back when I was 19, because after I got a relationship with Jesus and I was woke up, I realized what I had done and how bad a sin it was. And I kept telling my husband, I said, are you sure God has forgiven me for this? Because I was worried about it, and I was still so young in Christ. And Brian kept saying, Rhonda, yes, he's forgiven you. It's okay, you're forgiven. But I still worried about it. I mean, I was even crying over it, because it was like, at that point, and even now, it's like, I can't not be with God. I have to be with him. So I was so worried. So that night, it was so cool, because Jesus, a lot of times in my dreams, Jesus won't allow me to know who he is. I'll know that he is somebody very important, but it doesn't quite click until after I wake up. And in this dream, I saw him in a store, and he had jeans on and a jean jacket. And he walked by me and he patted my shoulder, and the dream focused in on a wedding ring that he had. It was a gold ring, and I also knew that he was a high priest. I knew that I knew that I knew. And he walked past me and he went through this brown door. And I walked to the other part of the store, and I told my friend, I said, hey, I just met that guy that you were talking about, because earlier she had said, hey, there's a guy in the store, he's kind of handsome. So I told her, I said, I just met that guy that you were telling me about. So we walked back to the room where he had left. And when I walked back in there, I saw him come back through that same, just a plain brown, like bedroom door. And when he came back, he put his arm around me and her, and we started walking. And he started talking about dreams, saying, and I knew that I wasn't supposed to say anything. I was just listening, because he was talking about dreams and how to understand them you know, a little lesson there. And finally I spoke up and I said, well, you know, I do have dreams too. And when I did, he seemed very happy that I spoke up, because he then put both arms around me and hugged me. And my friend just kind of disappeared. So we went for a walk, and all of a sudden we were, it almost looked like in the clouds. There was and stuff like that. We went for a ride, and then when we came back, this was what the most amazing part was, is I was sitting on a bench, and I looked down, and he was kneeling at my feet. And he looked up, he had different clothes on then, and he looked up at me and he said, there's a woman I want to heal, but she fears her sins are too great. What would you say to her? And in the dream, I'm like, oh, no, you got to tell her that God's already forgiven her. It's okay. And he smiled at me. And then he stood up. And again, he was dressed in the jean jacket and jeans that I first met him in. And we were walking back to where we first met. And he said to me, he said, I had to get permission to come see you tonight. I didn't think too much of it. We walked back in the store. And this time when he opened that same door, he hollered out two names. He hollered out John and Mary. And then he turned back to face me. And he was suddenly in a white gown. And he sat down, and this brightest light just shone down on his head. And he said, Rhonda, I came here tonight looking for you. And I realized after that dream that when you're with Jesus, you don't need your angels, because Jesus is all the protection you need. So he was getting ready to take me back, so he was calling my angels back on guard. And what was funny is the next morning I told my husband about the dream, and I'm like, I wonder who the woman was. And he looked at me so funny. He goes, Rhonda, that was you. I was like, oh, that's so amazing. So that's how awesome God is. I mean, we do something and we think, oh, I'll never be forgiven for that. How could I have been so, stupid? Jesus doesn't look at it like that. You just ask him for forgiveness and he gives it to you. We're the ones that make it so hard on each other, thinking we have to do all these rules, all these little steps, these laws. That's not true. We just have to ask for forgiveness and accept Christ. That's it. So I hope this makes somebody happy today to know that even the worst sin you think you've ever committed, he forgives you. And he wants to forgive us. We're the ones that have to accept it, because, like in the dream, I'm the one that wasn't accepting the forgiveness. And Jesus was like, I want to forgive you. Just accept it. So I hope this made somebody's day. So again, bless you guys, and thanks for listening. Bye.